Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to EU4, the third Odyssey. We left off last time having just reached the Pacific coast in Washington State and beaten the Catholic Europeans off of our promised land, the Portuguese in Texas and the French in Florida, and have decided that for the moment, Rome is overrated and that we must go and reach our true heritage of the promised land of Elysia, proclaiming hegemony essentially over the entire continent and getting a really nice CB to use against the Norse Vikings to unite the promised land CB, which gives us 50% cost for all of their provinces, as well as we can get that for Spartania once we've... So where does that leave us today? We're not going to be looking at Europe right away. We're going to be, again, consolidating, always ever consolidating, and trying to figure out how to break the Vinland-Spartania power block that's formed, because together they have about 130,000 troops to our 60,000, and we're flat out of manpower. If we can get through this kind of turbulent period at the start, we will rise like a phoenix. As well, we probably want to fill in these massive colonial gaps that I've left behind, because yes, Ohio is all ours, yippee. And yes, most of colonial Canada, and if we can actually mark off the American Pacific, or the Elysian Pacific coast, we'll be pretty good. But I will let you know as soon as something interesting happens. Now, the first thing we're going to do is change over our personal god. As nice as Artemis is for the movement speed and the shock damage, it's only useful when we're at war. And we actually have Leto, which will give us national manpower modifier and manpower recovery speed plus 25%, which is huge, and hopefully will get us out of this problem a little bit faster. Oh shit. Huh. I was worried about this, and it seems like I was right to be worried about this. Spartania has come a-knocking. We are still desperately out of manpower. What are their techs? Miltech 15, Miltech 13, so they're 2 Miltechs up. They have more manpower than us. Well, luckily we do have a 40,000 stack of mercs. Yeah, this certainly is a little bit undesirable, because I'm pretty sure Spartania also has a... yes, they have a whole extra morale, 5% discipline, and are just quite a competent fighting force. Though, good news of this, if I can beat Spartania, then I can go and deck on Vinland after breaking their alliance. So, swings and roundabouts. But this is going to be one hell of a war. Okay, I have an absolutely terrible idea, because I desperately need some stats. So I'm going to enforce my religion on the Pawnee, the Sioux, and that should give me Spread the True Faith, which on a month tick will let me start my golden era. And hopefully that will give me the stats I need. Because just looking at the lineup here, they out-discipline me, they out-tactics me, and they out-morale me. So unless I'm constantly outnumbering them, it's a very unfavorable trade, and... This is my merc stack, so it can afford to take the beating. It's not my boys. Not to mention they also have just much more artillery than I should have. I'm, well, 1581, nobody ever makes it this late into EU4. I'm not used to playing with the expectation of actually using artillery. Alright, well, seeing as we are Elysia, we have money to solve our problems, so we're going to hire just a bunch of mercs, a bunch of really strong mercs, to push back the the Spartanians. We're going to get the Varangians and our Fancy Palace Guard. The Fancy Palace Guard have like a 50% morale buff or something stupid like that. The Varangians have just a 10% morale buff, and the Grand Company has bodies. The problem is none of these have artillery. So, there's that. But we can only do so much. And yes, with our absolutely stacked amount of mercs, we can actually push them back. So this is going to be slow and painful, but possible. And expensive. Don't forget expensive, too. Okay, so I have been able to fight Spartania to a truce. It's not much. It's war reps and them breaking their alliance with Vinland, and also picking up the little random islands they have in the Caribbean. Actually, you know what? Instead of the islands there, I might take their money, because I could use that cash injection right now. And we'll be back for their islands. We'll get a better CB on them in a bit. So, mostly because I'm like 7,000 ducats in debt, but we don't need to worry about the specifics of it. And our truce with Vinland just came up, which is also important that we capitalize on breaking this alliance. So we're going to force them to peace out, very bloody war, and then basically immediately turn around, send everybody north, and I do in fact mean everybody. I'll group up near the capital and we'll sort you out there. And then we're going to go in on Vinland in a matter of months. In fact, just to make sure the Vinlanders can't get an alliance in Europe that will mess with me, we are going to immediately deck on them. This will give them a chance to siege down some things, but it'll just be a matter of pushing them back into the ocean. So we're going to just open with a deck and see where that goes. Oh, fun. I guess I should have seen this coming. So because we have decked on Vinland, the Varangian Order and their troops are rebelling against us. So either we could just annex them and have a chance that they will execute the Emperor. We can just send them back home and give Vinland an extra 20,000 manpower, which I'd rather not do. Or we could bribe them for about 2,000 ducats, which I guess is what I'll do. It's unfortunate. I was planning on using that money for, other things, but oh wow, we beat through the Vinlandish capital like much quicker than I expected. I think that was only like 2 months or something. I guess we just have enough cannons to do it. And we have the opportunity to loot it. And you know what? You guys have raided my coast enough. You deserve to have it looted. Yeah, no, the Vinlandic forces kind of crumpled. I was expecting more pushback or like a genuine bloody nose from this, but they we're kind of running amok through their lines. Oh, it's time to bet again, and today we are going all in on the blue team. Come on, blue though, pay out, pay out. Oh, well, you miss every bet you don't win. You win every bet you don't play. You bet every win you play. Beautiful. And just like that, we have pushed Vinland to a peace deal. We are going to take this absolutely disgusting peace deal that takes essentially all of their Elysian coastal provinces. So it's going to lock them in so they can't expand up here anymore. Now, the problem is Vinland is a proper colonial nation now. They do have land down in Panama and in the north of what's called Andronica in this timeline. So it's not going to stop them from colonizing, but hopefully it slows them down, and it guarantees that this will be mine, all mine. That's a disgusting Elysian name placement. Most important of all this is we do have what was the Vinlandic capital that does produce Norse mead, which gives local manpower modifier, and when you have the bonus and trading of it, you get idea cost minus 5%, I believe, which is just a really nice buff to have. But yeah, that was our first big wars against our two rival countries. Happened much sooner than I expected and went surprisingly well for how sporadic that was. And now in a completely unrelated war, we're just going to deck on the Haudenosaunee and the Shawnee and do some cleanup on our actually core Elysian area and basically just be left with the 4 little holes of uncolonized land that we still haven't done on the East Coast. But we're too busy looking like a massive blob growing out to cover the West. Gosh, our nation looks disgusting, and most of our name is in the wasteland that is Quebec. Interesting. So we now have the opportunity to build the arsenal of Elysia. The merchants of Neo-Constantinopolis, rich off the trade pouring into and out of the city, have come to the imperial court with an interesting proposal. They have seen the famed arsenal of Venice and the ships mass-produced there, and, inspired by the descendants of the Venetians in our empire who came with us in exile, wish to build, in Elysia, a second arsenal. It would cost a prince's ransom, but would allow us to mass-produce warships, trading vessels, and all manner of shipborne armaments on a scale never before seen, and allow us to truly rule the waves. The merchants have already come up with blueprints and picked up a suitable spot of harbor. We merely need to invest the funds into the endeavor. It would cost 200 Diplo power, or we could go and own Venice. I'm just going to do the investment of Dip at the moment, and it would let us build the arsenal of Elysia in Eros, making our already very navally focused province even more naval focused. This would give us local goods produced, naval force limit, shipbuilding time, shipbuilding cost, ship repair. Wow. And against the Shawnee, we're going to take all of their land and money. No, we're not going to finish their colony. And against the Iroquois, we are going to take all of their land or the Haudenosaunee. We're going to take all of their land and money as well. Oh, interesting. And we can also begin to expand the Elysian highway network, which will, um, once it finishes, give us decisions to expand the highway network. I believe it also, yes, eventually will give dev cost and trade power and movement speed and institution spread. For the most part, right now, it is just a matter of pouring money into the pit and seeing what happens. Oh, awesome. We got a really cool flavor event. The Borelian Lakes, which in this world means the Great Lakes. The Elysians of the North, or the Borelians, as we call them, are tough people of mixed Elysian, Vinlandic, and Barbary descent who inhabit the northern regions of Elysium, as well as the large inland lakes from which they get their name. As a people of the frontier, the Borelians provide much of the Empire's fur and timber trade, and are often hired as scouts and trackers when war breaks out in the region. Borelians speak with what is barely considered an Elysian dialect, and have adopted several native and Viking traditions. They are treated with scorn by their more respectable brethren to the south. Despite this, they remain loyal members of the Elysian Empire, and are lauded for their ability to survive the harsh northern winters year-round. Let us hope they continue to do so. So basically, in the northern region, instead of becoming Elysian, like what we consider traditional Elysian or Samayachi, you'll see some cultures flip over instead to being Borelian, which is just a cool flavor thing that that is done, and I really like that. It makes it feel a bit more lived in than just all having one giant hegemonic Elysia or French tag. I mean, even America, as you know, as much as American is a smear, um, somebody in New York is very different than somebody in Houston or somebody in LA. I just clicked on all the wrong places for those cities. But even just going a short way from New York to Pennsylvania to Ohio, you're going to see a bunch of different kinds of cornfields, and everyone has their own culture. Awesome. And with us offering vassalization to the Yaqui tribe, we've technically made another pocket in northern Mexico and Texas all the way up to technically Oklahoma, right? Like, there's not the panhandle here, but something like that. Point being, between Texas and the south, we've also cut it off from the coast. So that really leaves just one area where the Europeans could get in, and that's the Californian coast and the BC coast. But we should be able to plug that up very quickly, and then we can worry about making this look like less of an eyesore. While we wait for our truce with Vinland to burn off, I figured we would go in on Cuba and the Dutch colonies in the Caribbean, just to make sure that our place in the sun is secured, and the only real... Oh shit, wait, the Portuguese set up in the Caribbean too. Dang, I forgot about that. Oh, although France wouldn't come in right now. Well, I was going to deck on Cuba, but if Portugal's open, I'm gonna go and deck on Portugal. I mean, it's... Heck, I could maybe get all the way to, like, the Azores and Madeira. Yeah, I'm gonna do something stupid. Let's deck on Portugal instead. And hopefully that breaks the Portuguese-French alliance. Yes, it did. Okay. Now we actually have a chance to do something weird. Wasn't planning to do a European war, but you know what they say. More the merrier. I'm not sure if this is a good idea or a bad idea. So we're going to take all of the Portuguese colonies that we can see in the Caribbean and Costa Rica. I think that's Costa Rica, as well as the Azores, and most importantly, we're going to steal the capital of Lisbon. Probably an awful idea, but it will put us technically back in Europe. Not the way I planned of getting here, but why not? Let's have some fun with it. And just like that, we have a foothold. Beautiful. And this is the event I was expecting to pop up. Oh, first, felt hats, of course, very important. So we have felt hats that get triggered, as well as overseas administration. Our empire extends its reach across the Atlantic. The question of overseas administration has sparked intense debate within the imperial court. Amidst numerous proposals, one idea emerges as particularly compelling: the re-establishment of exarchates. Echoing the provincial divisions devised by Emperor Mercurius a millennium ago. But unlike its predecessor, this bold proposal suggests that entrusting provincial administration almost exclusively to local nobility and prominent figures, supported, of course, by our forces and bureaucratic apparatus. The proposed decentralized model promises to ease the integration of new subjects into the imperial fold and reduce the risk of frontier uprisings. Nevertheless, skepticism can be found amongst the courtiers, many of whom are concerned this could lead to an internal power struggles, given the recent trend towards increased centralization. Despite the uncertainties, the new exarchate system has reached the ear of the Archon Basilius, presenting a promising vision for the future of our expanding empire. It will be decided on a province-by-province basis, but essentially this enables a system where, if you click this button here, thank you, game, it does hide some of the building menus, but you can establish an exarchate, or a subject, that will receive provinces based on its regional level, like Iberia, France, Italia, Balkans, Anatolia. I think there's a special one here that gets both Balkans and Anatolia, but I digress. The Maghreb, Egypt, Mashriq, stuff like that. It receives those, and you can kind of choose to take some back if you want. And yes, we do get a bonus we do get a bonus merchant if the exarchate controls all of its region, to encourage you not just to spam out 1,000,001 trade companies. Also, yes, they do have a GovCap cost, so it's like a trade-off, I suppose, but it's interesting. That's also really funny. I could establish the exarchate of Africa, Afrique, in the Azores, because technically the Azores are in the North Africa region. You know what? Yeah, why not? So we now have two exarchates, although one with a funny capital position, with Afrique and Spania. Beautiful. And after chasing around just a random stack of native armies, eventually I just gave up and burned down the Salish. And they're willing to take peace, so we're going to annex all of their lands and take all of their money. Wonderful. Technically, we're now into Pacific Canada. Yeah, that's above the 38th parallel. It's about there. Oh, buddy, we're going to put all our money in on the blue team yet again. And let's hope it pays out. Damn. Devastating. Day ruined. For monetary reasons, we do have to detonate the Dutch. So we're going to start quite a large war over Cuba, just to seize essentially the rest of the Caribbean besides a handful of the Lesser Antilles. So, away we go. Oh, fun. Okay, so now we have the rise of the Illyrics. The descendants of the Frankish and German mercenary soldiers who fled with us to the New World, those few who retained their original culture, have, aided by adventurous Varangian pathfinders, spearheaded colonizations and exploration efforts into the southwest marches of Elysia. As a result, the Germanic background of these early colonists, the dialect and culture of the Andronica River Delta, and going west along the coast of the Badlands has been suffused with an unfortunate amount of barbarity. Even the name they have taken for themselves, the Illyric, is a bastardization of a Germanic name for the continent. At least they're half Elysian. The Elysian culture in Andronica, southern Great Lakes, and Kincia region have become Illyric, which, if we look here, is pretty well that. So everything in what would be the traditional American South, going on into the entire Andronica region, in Kincia region, will eventually flip to being that, which is cool. I like that. It makes it feel so much more lived in. And you can really see the effect we're having on this continent. Like, look at our cultural span so far, and it's just going to get more aggressive. I mean, even the places here, they're slowly flipping every 20 years, right? It's such a fun way to do cultural expansion. And with the sending of this colonist to Yukonam, we essentially have locked off the entire California to to the Mississippi. I don't know what state is here. Nobody does. It's next to Illinois. It's a square. but we've essentially locked off the entire Central American Midwest. Now there's still, the British Columbian coast, the Vancouver Island, everything up to Alaska that needs to be done. But all of the really important land we have guaranteed to be ours. Beautiful. And on the dot for the 1st of January 1600, global trade spawns. Luckily in our lands, because if I confirm here, the Bay of Elysia has 84 ducats, 0.1 in value, whereas England has, or the English Channel has 83.7. So we just barely managed to squeak ahead of the English there in value. However, global trade, of course, this is just the global trade event, giving us M power, double power, mill power, prestige, gov reform progress, and makes us just better at trade in Pythagoras. Beautiful. And we get a national decision where we can rekindle the invasion effort. It's a little bit expensive, but we will be looking at that in time. And by having all of the favorable trade locations developed in Elysia, we also complete the mission Gateway to Elysium. The discovery of Kuta and the reappearance of the old European kingdoms has sparked a heated race for control of the Cycladian Islands. The noble man and woman of the empire can rest easy tonight, for the Cycladian Islands, so long a place of conflict, now lie firmly under the control of our glorious empire. Well, we're dealing with that, but yes. With this new jewel in the imperial crown, we control the gateway of the entirety of Elysium. Any trade that occurs in this new world passes through the hands of our merchants, giving us some measure of control over the Frankish and Iberian kingdoms. We must build an unrivaled encampment to defend this new position or risk losing it. This gives us the gateway of Elysium, as long as we maintain 90% trade power in Bay of Elysia and 66% trade power in the Cycladian Islands, which gives us a bonus trade steering. It enables the construction of the Autochrom Monument. The construction can be started in any owned or subject-owned province in the Cycladian Isles using the construct thing. At Tier 3, it gives local defense. Okay, it's a big fort. Fair enough, that gives us some naval bonus. And once we are able to get out of war, we'll be able to get Center of Commerce. Fantastic. The Dutch are finally willing to come to terms, so we will demand all of their Caribbean land. That's all I really want. Okay, much better. Now Cycladia is more or less whole. We still have to actually hand it over to the vassal, but we're doing okay in that regard. Fantastic. And after just upgrading Elysia to be a world port, we've completed the Center of Commerce. We've done it. We now control the most precious resource in the whole world, more valuable than gold, more honorable than steel, and holier than Libanos. We control trade, and it is not said that he who controls trade controls the universe. We get a modifier to our gateway of Elysium, which gives more domestic trade power, cheaper to promote mercantilism, more trade value modifier for every province in the Bay of Elysia trade node, and estate monopoly privileges now grant to mercantilism. But, more importantly, because we completed that, we can now complete the Jewel of Elysia, which we've completed by upgrading all of our great projects, having a lot of development, 150 development just in this area alone. I mean, Elysia has 51, so like it's not that surprising. Anyway, the Jewel of Elysia, from its very founding all those years ago, Nea Constantinopolis has always been the center of Elysian culture and commerce, and it has since grown into one of our most precious cities in the New World. However, there is much to be done if we are to truly earn the respect and admiration of the nations of Europe and beyond. So we will get an extra colonist. All of the buildings on Elysium will be cheaper to build and give more local settler increase. We will be able to have the Temple of the Marble Emperor's Great Project, which will give us a lot of really nice bonuses. Speaking of which, the Temple of the Marble Emperors. So depending on where we build this, it will change the effects that it has. If we build it in Elysia, it will give us max absolutism, yearly legitimacy, and make our nobles more loyal. If we build it outside of the city walls, it will give us more tolerance to the true faith, and make our mercenaries better, and make our clergy more loyal. Or if we build it alongside the guardian statues in Eros, it will give us prestige decay, monthly splendor, and some trade steering at max level. But I think I'm going to go for absolutism. So we build it next to the imperial palace in Elysia, which, oh boy, absolutely gorgeous. We're essentially doing a new, more beautiful Parthenon. I forgot how fucked up Europe looks. That Ottomans is going to be a pain in the ass to kill. I didn't notice this. Our entire coastline has just gotten lit up with the Elysian exports. So all of these have plus 10%. Oh, that's how you just print money. That's insane. At some point, like when I just want to dev up the entire country and print up all of the great what are they called? Great projects. I need to take trade ideas, and if I stack enough modifiers, I'll just go to the fucking moon. That's insane. And just like that, our truce with Vinland has come to an end. Oh, wait, just before we deck really quick, let me invest in a trade zone. Fantastic. Yes, our truce with Vinland has come to an end, which means it's time to finally evict them from Elysium. Oh, did they really Spartania? Oh, no, Spartania is guaranteeing them. That's slightly annoying, but Spartania is not the threat that it was a minute ago. So we are going to deck on Vinland with the show superiority CB. While we're doing this, we're also going to probably just blow Spartania out of the water. Yeah, why not? So I may as well make them a co-belligerent. Every time that this event has popped up, I've said, you know, thanks but no thanks, and pushed it on till later. But I think now we finally can dress ourselves up to look like a god. So for 3,200 ducats, which, yes, we have the money, but oh boy, I took out a lot of loans to get there. We will give ourselves 10 legitimacy, cost of 50 diplo power. We would lose a bit of max tax, gain missionary strength, gain prestige decay, a little bit less tolerance to the true faith, but a lot more yearly legitimacy. And Isakos II Bacarius is a god. Alrighty, due to some naval invasion shenanigans, and definitely not my fault, might have just lost a large portion of the army to the Spartans on Cuba. So we're going to pull out Old Reliable, slap down the independent army right next to the Spartan army there, and of course take out a little bit more debt, because debt, oh boy, I love debt, and give me the Varangian and the Epikoltki and the Free Company. And with that, we will show why Elysia is strong, not necessarily for its armed forces, but holy fuck, can we throw money around. Oh boy, so now I actually have colonized the entire, what would be, like, you know, the main Pacific coast. So we essentially do have all of this captured. I'm now sending colonies all the way up to friggin' Alaska. I am also building a spy network in Haida, but we are so close to having this all properly penned in that, like, Northern Elysia will be ours in just a matter of time. It's not that this war is difficult, though Spartania has been kicking my ass up and down the curb. It's just annoying because it's fighting, like, essentially a war the size of Europe, except you're still that slow, and some of these provinces are quite large. So I'm like, and it's the micro all over the place. It's very hard to keep track of stuff consistently. So, like, we're almost through Spartania. Like, they're almost out of manpower, and the AI won't be able to cope with that. But they have, like, 2k stacks all the way over here, or a 1k stack up there, that's sieging stuff down, and I'm having to throw around stuff to try and chase it. Not to mention Vinland, who, despite the fact that, like, their core territory is beaten, there's just a smattering of Vinland down here, which is a whole different issue. On a lighter note, though, the Androniccan, that's what I'll go with. The Androniccan highway has been completed. If one were to consider Neo-Constantinopolis as the heart of our beloved empire, the mighty Androniccan would be the veins and arteries of trade, bringing wealth and prosperity to wherever its streams flow. Yet, even now, we aren't exploiting the full potential of this vital river. At least today, we are partially rectifying this mistake by integrating the riverlands into our highway network. Let the trade flow, which will give us 10 splendor and 10 prestige. All this is a vital lesson in needing to build so many more forts all over the continent. Because like you can see, the Spartanians run amok here, they went all the way up here, they've been over here. All of this is sieged. It's not a great color to see against, or maybe it's my map mod, but all of this has been sieged. And the Vinlanders ran all the way up here and here and here. So either I need to make sure I have a bigger navy that no European force can ever get onto my land, or I need to be like Spartania and do these stupid 3-layer forts. These are going to be a pain in the ass for me to siege my way through, but I'm going to siege my way through, and I'm going to burn Spartania to the ground. This war has been going on for 5 years, and it's going to go on for another 5 while I go and salt the earth that they use to farm. I hate Vinland. Well, we have the battle for the war taking place in Spartania. Let's go and have a bet on the blue team. That's right, the blue team. We're due for a win, and we always win because the blue team always wins. Thank you for the money. Have a good day. Thank God we won that. And we're just going to keep burning down Spartania because I hate you, Spartania. Die. Okay, I won't be able to deal as much damage to Spartania as I wanted, but if I keep them in this war any longer, I'm going to blow a blood vessel. Yeah, for the sake of breaking them, I am going to take more of their gold. And just what money they'll give me, and just get them out of this war, because they're the only thing keeping Vinland in this war, and they're annoying the hell out of me. Beautiful. Now then, against Vinland, we are going to wipe them off the face of the earth. We are taking all of their provinces. Finland will stop existing, right? We will demand their full annexation. Beautiful. And just like that, almost 1 million people died, but we've gotten the end of the war. Oh, that was a pain in the ass. The entire army needs to be reorganized. Like almost 10 years passed. Most importantly, I need to take one of these forces. You will do, and I need to march you all the way up north because we also have a war to do against the Haida people. More importantly than all that, though, we have completed taming the Northmen. Throughout our various incarnations, the people of the North have always been both a hindrance and a boon, plundering our shores for wealth and then turning around and pledging us to their eternal allegiance. No longer will we rely on flimsy treaties or the promise of gold. The time has come to enforce our rule upon them once and for all. We will gain a bunch of trade bonuses, and we get the decision to assert our authority over Laconia, which can be used to peacefully subjugate Spartania if they have less than 50% of our and our subjects' total development and army size. The event dynastic feud happens, granting us enforced hegemony casus belli on Spartania. Unite the promised land casus belli can now be used on Spartania, and we get a permanent claim on Laconia. Dynastic feuds. The renegade Spartan kingdom down in the southern jungles has disregarded our authority for too long. Though they no doubt loath to admit it, the ruling dynasty has strong blood ties in Roman emperors of times past. As such, it is imperative to make them recognize our suzerainty over them. Leonidas and his descendants sought to establish an independent state for those who wished to prove their martial worth. However, we will show those Spartans that our tagamata are much more than a match for them. So we get the enforced hegemony casus belli on Spartania, which... what do those CBs do? Obviously I can't deck right now, we just beast out. We get 90% aggressive expansion, 200% prestige, and 100% cost for whatever enforced hegemony is. And we will now deck on the Haida people, just so that we can finally close Elysia solely to ourselves. Like, yes, all the coastline is covered, but this will make it ours. The Yaqui people are our subject, before you ask any questions. Oh, and just like that, we have entered the age of absolutism. How absolutist am I able to get? Not very. Not very at all. Cool. And against the Haida people, we are going to take all of their belongings and get an even grosser name placement, but wow. Yeah, we're friggin' big. Okay, I really gotta fill in the center so we can get like a clean Elysia. Oh, cool. The lands of Arcadia. The lands of Arcadia, our name for the southern continent, are more ill-tempered than our own. this strange expanse of a harsh climate that varies between humid and hostile in the low plains to frigid and glacial in the upper highlands, and is almost wholly inhospitable without the proper knowledge either traded from native guides or learned through the tragic method of trial and error. But there are among our people who have tried to live in these lands anyway, and many of them have succeeded. As more and more people have come to call Arcadia home, they are strutting further and further inland, following the rivers and glacier valleys. The frontier may be cruel, but it is ours to tame. A little bit of prestige, a little bit of diplo power, that's nice. So I'm now going to start the very long and expensive province process of annexing Cycladia into me. This is going to antagonize them a little bit, but they should be annexed in about 30 years. And with this final click of expansion ideas, which gives us global trade power plus 20%, we also complete our idea group, which gives us administrative efficiency plus 5%, which is huge for coring and a whole bunch of other things, and just making our country generally better. For example, we're scraping our gov cap, something awful. I might actually have to start destating. I went a little heavy-handed, but like all of this, right, random stuff that isn't on the East Coast could get destated and just ran as territories. I need room for this nice gold province in the south. But yeah, so besides that, we're doing really good. The freemen of the steppes. From the Andronica River to the Atlas Mountains, there exists one vast steppe, similar to the plains of the Scythian lands of Europe. The men who live there disdain large cities except on the riverbanks, and instead prefer to populate many small towns and villages. The fierce horsemen the empty grasslands have produced hold on to the autonomy that only vast distance can create, and occasionally skirmish with not entirely subdued barbarian tribes. They have taken to calling themselves the Freemen of the Steppe, or simply Freemen, Elysia for short, the Cossacks of Elysium, which means that, yes, we've had another branch in culture. So far there's the traditional Elysian, the Barbarii, or not the Barbarii, the Borellii, the Illyric, the Eleutherii, and I'm assuming we'll get one down in California, and probably one more for the Mexico, the Spartanian region. Wow, that was a hell of a brain fart. Oh, fun! My favorite event, Prospering Times. Where are we going to put an absolutely useless city? Oh shit! Wait, where is this? On a gold province? Is there a local goods produce buff? No, but that is 5 free base production. So if I... Okay, I could only put 1 extra click into it. But hell yeah, we just got like a free 7 production dev gold mine. That's going to help the economy a little bit. In fact, let's pay off some of our bad loans. Ah, shit. I didn't notice at some point Lisbon must have flipped, or... Ah. That sucks. That was my little gateway into Europe, and they freaking took it back because I wasn't paying attention. Oh, wow. And if we're almost losing this core, then... Yeah, it's been gone for a minute. I could go back in on them. That's a bigger word than I want right now, though. Dang. So one thing that I have kept on the back burner, but seeing as we're kind of at a lull in our Elysian unification, I am going to begin to rekindle the invasion effort, especially after what the friggin' Portuguese did to me. So we're just gonna... It will cost us a stability, 10 prestige, 3 legitimacy, and a lot of other costs. However, it was decided in the Senate some time ago to abandon our dreams of retaking our ancient homeland, but now some hawkish senators have reopened the debate. They claim that the time is ripe to refocus our efforts on expelling and destroying our hated foes. The Empire, they claim, is an old country with old enemies and old hatreds that should not be forgotten to the sands of time and an undeveloped frontier. So, we will rekindle the invasion efforts, which is a little expensive, but should open up the option to assemble an invasion force, which we have already completed, which will give us a handful of things, but essentially give us fleet movement speed, attrition when loaded on ships minus 25%. Our barracks, training fields, docks, and dry docks all give us a bit of sailors and manpower. We will begin the invasion effort for 50 mil power, which will remove the decision to embrace Elysium. We've already embraced it. And we will gain the invasion modifier, which will give us 10% morale of armies, 10% morale of navies, bunch of prestige, manpower in true faith provinces, war taxes, monthly war exhaustion, and global unrest at the cost of -1 monthly mill power, as well as ship durability, shipbuilding time, heavy ship, lots of bonuses. As long as we are at war with somebody that owns a Greek province, also known as the Turks, although potentially I can invade Cyprus. Either way, let us begin the invasion effort. And gaining a foothold, our military elites now know all the secrets of the European fine powder and are currently introducing it to our armies and navies. With their technological advantage negated, we are now able to seriously consider a large-scale invasion of the continent across the sea, specifically our ancestors' homeland of Hellas. How should we go about it? We must secure our supply lines first. So we are given a choice to secure the western Mediterranean isles, such as Corsica, who's a vassal of France, so probably not. The eastern Mediterranean isles, such as Corfu or Cyprus or Rhodes, or the Straits of Gibraltar, or an Atlantic port. Fun. So that the Atlantic port is something like Morocco. The Straits of Gibraltar is obviously Gibraltar. I think we're going to go for an eastern Mediterranean island. Specifically, Cyprus. As Cyprus is under the Mamluks, and the Mamluks have some allies, such as Morocco and Persia, but I don't think any of them can actually get here and stop me. And just like that, we're going to open up a big, stupid war on Cyprus and the Mamluks and Persia and the Hormuz to go and get ourselves some land. Away we go. Oh, that's fun. I've never seen this event before. The island of Malta. Our invasion of an old world continues apace, with the Emperor and his war council receiving daily reports on the progress of the campaign and enemy troop movement from the safety of the capital. A Varangian on the council suggests that if we were to take and control the island of Malta, it would provide them with a fortress in the central Mediterranean Sea, which to launch an assault on Hellas proper. Relocation to such a far-flung colony would also hopefully shift their focus away from domestic affairs. It's worth considering. So I wonder if that's a way to get rid of the negative effect that Malta has on us. And they're really undefended. And we could get Rome that way. Oh, and you know it, you love it. We're having a grand race at the Hippodrome. Come on, blue team. Come on, blue team. Win before the month tick. Okay, they did win. I just forgot to pause. So we had to take out a loan, which basically negates the benefit of winning. But I'm really glad they won. We're already making our landing in Cyprus. Okay, beautiful. So we have secured Egypt as much as or Cyprus, so much as I'm able to at the moment. More pressing things than getting back to the New World are occurring. For example, it's time that we go in on Spartania and enforce our hegemony over them, which should make them like an imperial subject vassal. I did a little bit of reading. Just a couple, you know, not that many, just one or two, really. Pretty well as many mercs as I can afford to hire. And deck on Spartania for enforced hegemony. We should be able to blow through them, especially with the actual reformed army that we have. Shouldn't be short of artillery anyway. Alright, Spartania is immediately taking this fight, even though we're a little under morale. Let's see how it goes. It hurts. I'm not going to say it doesn't hurt, but we're able to get more men in than them. And that's really... Oh shit, are they still going to beat us just on raw morale? That's kind of concerning. Alright, you pull back. Yeah, and you run all the way to fucking Arizona. They're going to win there too before we can get in. But that's just the merc stack. You all pull back as well, hopefully to the right spot. Note, you are all running right into the middle of the country where you're going to die. And the Egypt war still going on too, and Cyprus, are you? No. Wait, this isn't ticking? We didn't... I mean, it's the invasion of Cyprus, and I control Cyprus, but it shows superiority? Oh, fuck. Cyprus would peace out. Egypt, do you want to peace out for Cyprus's sake? No? Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I guess I'll just sit here then. Uh-huh. Yep, we're gonna retreat right onto their big fucking army. Yep. Mm-hmm. Please don't wipe 50,000 troops. Can I retreat them? No, at least they're retreating the right way. I love this war. I love this war. I love this war. Alright, Spartania, let's try this again. First army, go in. Make sure you have a general, for the love of God. Kill him. Okay, it's bloody. It hurts. Second army, go in. Okay, we were too slow on the rotation, but that's okay. Go in. Oh god. Okay, we're just all getting minced. That's with them having a -2. It's just all the discipline. Alright, you... Oh, and you're already locked in. Oh, I'm sending them into slaughter. My boys. My boys. Well, actually, wait a second. Hold. No, there's no holding. They're just getting slaughtered. Okay, well, good news. Spartania has to... Yeah, they're down to 40,000 manpower. They can't keep this up. There you go. We're gonna beat them one way or another. Slow and bloody. Yeah, as for Cyprus front, it's not moved. We're kind of dying on the beaches every time we land. I starting these at the same time was optimistic and possibly a mistake. Brother, how are you just ignoring the fort zone of control there? Is it because this is a vassal so you can just walk right by? Because, like, the fort's here, and he's just going, whoop. EU4 AI. Oh, you were perfect. Okay, so I know this is such a cope take, but the Spartans are finally out of manpower, which means we're going to start making gains, right? We just had to grind through literally all of our own subjects. But they can't stop us, because there's literally too many of us. How the fuck did he just blow through my level 4 bastion in 100 days? He has a stat, it's just 21 cannons. It's just 20, maybe that's it. Maybe am I not that artillery pilled? Am I, like, how much arty am I supposed to be rocking? I have 35, no, mind you, yeah, no, 30 troops to 30, now mind you, I do have a stupid amount of mercenary just bodies, so I guess I could be building just artillery to fill out the back line. Oh, I hate you, Spartans. I hate you, Spartans. All of the hatred that I had for the Norsemen is just replaced with the hatred for the Spartan. It's just... Fuck it, we're ferrying everything back. This war started fucking 6 years ago, and we're gonna just show back up with a whole ass army. And burn those fuckers down. Okay, so we might get a river crossing penalty, but they're sitting on mountains, and I just want to see how fucking poorly this goes. Technically, okay, well, we're missing a bunch of artillery. Well, they have 20, so this is going to be incredibly bloody. I expect it to be, right? Persia, I would love a white peace. And as you can see, okay, they retreat out of it. Now, is that because, well, they can't afford to lose more troops? They're down to 50,000. While we're fighting this absolute death war, and, you know, considering, like, we spawned global trade, and this is as far as it's spread in our lands, versus this is what it's done in Europe in the old world, I think I might want to embrace global trade now, even though it's going to be 5,000 ducats, which is not ridiculously expensive, but also, we're a little bit in debt. We're rocking 80 ducats of interest a month, but, you know. Once we get Spartania under our belt, then we'll relax and actually pay it all up, I'm sure. Yeah, that's when. That's when. We're also doing a nice big new round of mercs being recruited down in Mississippi. And with this final colonist, while we're still in the middle of these fucking hell wars, we will finish colonizing the Elysian Southwest, I guess be fair to call it. So now we basically have a fully fleshed in eastern seaboard and southwest, so that really just leaves cleaning up the Three Fires and the rest of the Midwest, and then taking on the Great Plains and actually coloring in the Pacific coast. That's hilarious. I didn't even notice that Hormuz made it all the way over here. I really have to go and burn down the Mamluks. Holy shit. Okay, maybe my luck will be better with some gambling. So come on, all in on the blue team, baby. Everything in on the blue team. God damn it. You know, that kind of is just the cherry on top for how this whole shebang has been going. God damn it. And the Spartanians sunk my flagship? That's like... She lived for another 200 years. How are they doing this? What did they do to clutch up? They have so much more engagement with. Holy shit. That's why they're essentially putting all of their heavies on the fleet. Okay. Um... Can't fight them on the ocean, can't fight them on the land. That cost me 8 heavies. Ow. We're just not having a good time right now. I really hope they fight this well when they're actually my subject. Because if they just become a wet noodle, I'm going to be, disappointed. On a different note, the Moroccans are invading Newfoundland. Didn't have that on my bingo card. You know, something tells me that because for the most of this war I was fighting on Miltech 15, being behind 3 Miltechs, if I remember correctly, Miltech 16 is really important. So I might have just been fighting a really unnecessary uphill battle. Oh, 16 and 18 both gives improved combat width. Yeah, so they were essentially fighting with more men, and Spartania just has a really strong military. That could probably touch it. And technically, none of my idea groups are really helping me out here. Eventually, I would like to get like quality ideas finished, but I've just been so short point. I'm gonna have to cut out all of this bitching and moaning. Not to mention Morocco is in Nova Scotia. Okay, well, at least something pleasant is coming out of this big war. We get, I think, a new culture event. A Tale of No Cities. It has been some time since we've arrived in northern Arcadia. Coastal forests have been cleared to make way for our new settlements, carefully planned and limited so as to respect the native sacred lands. This mutual understanding has strengthened our foothold here, for the barbarian knowledge of this land and hidden ways have proved invaluable to our survival and prosperity. The interior is still dominated by the endless jungle, making it hard to go deeper than what the known waterways will allow us. Since going on foot means challenging nature's most fearsome beasts, hungry for human flesh and ready to strike at any moment. It's for this reason that most settlers who initially drawn to the wonder and promise of gold have since abandoned the idea of becoming treasure hunters, preferring a frontier life that is surely less risky than venturing into that green hell. Furthermore, as our knowledge of these forests increases, it's becoming accepted that those tales of the legendary Sherlock Polices, whatever that means, were nothing but a myth, maybe born from the wonder some people bore towards the craftsmanship of the local tribes and their trinkets. For now, much of these lands lay firmly in our hands, proving that our indomitable spirit remains unbroken even before nature's worst challenges. Following such tenacity, embodied by the strong gusts of winds drifting on these golden pastures, the settlers have taken to calling themselves Shuraisinmoi when interviewed by imperial censors, and thus the imperial administration has followed suit. Let their perseverance stand as a testament to Elysian resolve. So the Elysian culture in those areas, in the southern Yucatan, and yes, will be called that. I 1 second. I have to figure out where that is. Yucatan. Okay, so it's the Central America and North and South America. The north of South America. But hey, at least we have a new culture. Is this the culture? No, that's the Spartan land. Do we have any of our culture down here? I don't know. Just promote the local culture. I'm coming for you, Sparta. It's gonna take a long time, and I might have to burn down all of fucking South America for it, but I'm coming for you. Oh, fun. And another culture event. The Hesperidian Fields. Hesperidians are descendants of those colonists who traveled west across the Atlas Mountains, which stretch from the north to the south at the far end of the Scythian plains. The great distance from the capital has led to the Hesperidians adopting a much more laid-back stance to the relation of tradition and religion. As a result, many of our more rebellious and free-thinking subjects have flocked there in the thousands. At least they're out of our hair for now. Alright, we finally caught the Moroccan army, and hopefully we blow them out, because... yeah, okay, this is how I expected our battles to go. Like, we actually do good numbers against people that don't have bullshit stats. Fucking hell. Oh, and our golden era just ended too, which is a whole different problem. But hopefully we got done what we needed to get done. Hopefully. I was just looking at what we can take for our tier 8 gov reform, and normally I would just be lazy and take administrative clergy, but I think we have enough corruption reduction yearly that I can get away with taking dynastic administration for the +1 monarch admin skill. Usually it's a little expensive with the yearly corruption, but monarch points kind of are worth more than anything. Which, now I don't think that will stack immediately. I think that does mean, or maybe on the month tick, we'll see. But either way, more admin is always good to have whenever we get it. And it also makes all of our states just a little less influential, which is generally a good thing. We did it, the ill-fated, extremely rare EU4 encirclement. So now I just have to wait for him to starve out and lose all his equipment and org, and then we can actually just one-tap him to take Leningrad. Problem is I can't even fight him because none of these merc stacks have cannons, so they'll just die. Like, that's all that will happen. They'll just die, and nothing good will come of this. Finally. Oh, finally. I knew this Spartania war was gonna be, like, a lot. I wasn't ready for how many years? 13 years of a million dead. I've lost 850,000 troops. Oh my god. This has been something. This has been absolutely something. So let's enforce hegemony on Spartania, which will make them an imperial associate, which eventually I should be able to integrate in about 50 years. And peace out. That cost me so many troops. Not to mention we're still at war with Egypt over Cyprus, which has been going on since 1618. We have also completed the mission expanding south, which we have grown mighty over the years, and now the time has come to put the lands of renegade Spartan kingdom in its place. For far too long, they have ignored the authority of the Elysian Emperor. No longer. We must unite the entire region under our heel, including the remaining barbaroi, tribes, and kingdoms, etc. Only then will its inhabitants accept our authority as the true rulers of the continent. We get continental integration into the end of the game, which gives state maintenance minus 10%, which is huge, and 200 GovCap. And we can now use Unite the Promised Land CB on all nations that hold provinces on the continent of Elysium. And we get a permanent claim on the continent of Elysium. So that just leaves us with the 40 more buildings to build for a new homeland. And then we would be able to complete a Promised Land after a little bit of internal dev. As for how Spartania works, they still hate me, understandably. How upset are they? You know. Why are they that upset? A lot of, subjugated by former rival, opinion, trust, power. Yeah, they're gonna stay pissed for a while. So what we're gonna do is, oh my gosh, how deep in debt are you? Only 3,000 ducats. Surprisingly not that bad. We're just gonna improve opinion with them and do our best to make them less angry. While we go and figure out what we're gonna do in Africa, because we still have to go and beat up the Mamluks. Oh boy. Okay, also thankfully Morocco is willing to wipe peace. So that just leaves me and the Mamluks, and poor Cyprus, who's been sieged down for essentially almost 20 years. We're gonna go, salt the earth that the Mamluks breathe. I just need Cyprus. This is going to be a very easy war compared to what we just went through, hopefully. Oh, you're fucking kidding me. What are you trying to take? Midoriya? Why does France have a claim all the way? France, buddy. You're not gonna... I guess I look weak from your perspective. 3 mil text down, holy shit. Okay. Switch focus to Mill. We're going all in on Mill. We're gonna finish this war with the Mamluks, and we're gonna go burn down the French. They're the second strongest country in the world. No, that's the Ottomans. I was planning on dealing with the Ottomans, but you know what? I just need Cyprus. Just get Cyprus, and then I'll deal with the French. That's fun. Just another minor cultural event that we have begun to culturally assimilate the Vinlandic for instead the Varangians. So, this will now become Varangian, and just like that, the same fate will be born to all of the former Norse. I wonder if we'll ever eventually be able to assimilate the Portuguese. If we ever converted them away from being Catholic, yeah, I think so. Oh, but you know, need to go religious ideas too. Whole different set of problems. Whole different set of problems. My technology is so borked that even with a 45 stack against a 26 stack of Mamluks, Mamluks are at 19 mil, I'm at 17 mil. If I right click to go in, so we're rocking technically 30 cannons, but because we're so low on manpower, it's down to 12,000. If I go in, I'm gonna get my ass beat. Oh, are we? Are we? Or did we finally... Okay, we finally figured out how to actually... the game's doing what it can to fuck with me. You know, what's great is even with the Spartanians, like, being staunchly, what's this called? Rebellious. The fact that the French are choosing to invade through their lands is making it their problem, and they're going to deal with it for me. In so much as, how hard do the French hit? Because the Spartanians fucking whooped my ass. But, yeah. Oh, okay. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's just a long and painful tunnel that's filled with glass shards that I'm repeatedly shoving my metal cylinder into. Alrighty, the war against France is as one as I'm willing to push it at the moment. I need a minute to stop being at war. We essentially just defended. But, because we held for so long, we're able to get the Galapagos Islands, as well as 2 of the 3 Balearics, and the north of Sardinia, which will give us a bit of aggressive expansion into the New World, or into the Old World, I suppose. But really, it should be fine. I wonder, can we release them as exarchs? Exarchates? Yes, we'll establish the exarchate of Italia. And since we lost the exarchate of Hispania, we will re-establish the exarchate of Hispania. And just like that, we've spawned 3 little shits into the world and are still burning down Egypt because of a long series of things I don't need to explain, but this war has been going on for 22 years and has been deeply unpleasant. Alright, let's see if all my luck's turned around. Come on, blue team. Maybe now. Thank God. Maybe that means the gods have my back again, and we will stop whatever pain train we've been on. But oh boy, the last, when did this war start? Man, the last 20 years. We've been at war for this stupid rot for 20 years. The devastation of Cyprus is almost at 70%. The poor people of Cyprus, man, they did nothing wrong. Oh, and the Mamluks will not peace out, because technically all of those bad wars that all those bad battles that I fought with Spartania, it tanked my war score, because this is a show superiority war, so it's fucked. It's game over, man. It's game over. And we're carrying a fuckload of bad loans. It's just, we're not having a golly gee old time. And by sending out this subject here, or this subject, and by sending out this colonist here, we'll also be finishing off the great big Canadian pocket, which really does just leave us with the West and the Midwest to clean up. Oh. Oh. Yeah? Yeah, this is what we're doing? Seriously? I hate you, Britain. You're the fucking worst. You have nothing better you could do. Gonna come fuck my shit up because I wasn't having a fun enough time already? I'm sorry, wait. Was Aragon allied to... Of course Aragon was allied to Britain. Of course it was. And I'm really in no place to fight either of them, as I've been dealing with the Cyprus situation for 25 years? Are we in the 25th year? For literally... let's see, if EU4 is about 400 years long, a quarter of a quarter. So what's a quarter of 25? 6.5, 6.5, 12 point. Yeah, I've literally been fighting. Okay, well, 6% of the game isn't as much as it sounds, but this is stupid. Please die. God damn it, Britain. I needed peace. I need to actually, like, be working on my country and shit. Okay, again, the only good news to come from all of this, besides the fact that, like, I guess constantly staying at war stops Spartania from declaring independence, is the fact that they keep decking on or near Spartania, so they have to go through my very large, pissed off vassal. Mamluks, you lost, fuck off, give me Cyprus, give me your money. This has taken 20, how many years? How many years? Started in 1618, went to 1644, like more than 25 years. I don't want to be here. You don't want to be here. Fuck you. Finally. So. Now that the supply lines have been secured, we can worry about the invasion of Hellas. With our supply lines secured, the Elysian supply ships are in position to keep our men supplied with ammo and food for the coming invasion of Greece. It pays to be prepared. Elysia gains a core on Cyprus. Cyprus gets supply lines until the invasion, basically making the island much calmer. And they also gain supply lines trigger modifier while at war with a country that has not Roman culture and owns at least one Greek province, the Ottomans, which gives manpower recovery speed, land maintenance modifier, reinforced speed. Now we actually get to choose the fun part of where in Greece we want to land, because each of these have independent bonuses. We can choose Athens for Miltech cost and military advisor cost. We can choose Macedonia for land maintenance modifier and core creation cost. We can choose Sparta for infantry combat ability and monthly war exhaustion. Or we can choose Rhodes for fort defense and attrition for enemies. We'll get a permanent claim on all provinces that are of Greek culture. And of course we can change as necessary. I think we're going to choose Sparta just because we need that infantry combat ability based on how much we've been using infantry and not actual artillery, which is a whole different problem, but we're not talking about that right now. I'm losing my mind a little bit. So yes, we will choose Sparta, the homeland of the warriors. Now, Cyprus, because it is ours, does not immediately get transferred over to an exarchate. Instead, we are going to keep it under our thumb. And since Cyprus is a Greek culture province, it also has triggered this event, Old Home, New Differences. I was expecting this for a while, before the Death War happened. It has been many decades since we sailed from Constantinople on our great Odyssey to Elysia. Now that we are back, it is clear that we and the Greeks we left behind are no longer entirely the same people. In fact, we can hardly be recognized as one people anymore. We have rediscovered the truth of the divine and founded a prosperous culture many miles across the ocean, while the Greeks have been left to rot in their ignorance and occupation. Our wisdom and enlightenment are seemingly pure anathema to the Greeks, who have greeted us as barbarous invaders, if not demonic interlopers. Already, they are proving as stubborn as an enemy as their previous occupiers, and find ourselves fighting the very people we came to liberate. Needless to say, something must be done if the invasion is to succeed in anything other than wasting Elysia's resources. They better start behaving. So all Greek and or Pontic culture provinces get the culture Sirhak debuff, which gives local tax modifier debuff, manpower, sailors, unrest, missionary strength, and culture conversion cost. And there are ways to alleviate that, but it's difficult, and it's even more difficult because we are Hellenic, which is just another massive difference between our already strained brethren. So yeah, as you can see, we get the cultural assimilation modifier on Greek provinces as well. But due to just how different we are, it's negative 82.5% because of a whole mess of things. But there's steps we can take to improve it, but really they are just that different. You know, while this whole British war fiasco is going on, we're just going to deck on the OPM up in Manitoba, Saskatchewan. And from Nehoya, we're going to take their land and their money and send them on their way. Here, have some autonomy and let me core your land. Oh, motherfucker. Ha 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 ha. France just decked on my vassal immediately. I think that our nation has been at war constantly for the last 50 years and not in a way that I have controlled. Like, we've been on the defensive in technically the Cyprus War, right? But longer than that, because like the conquest of Vinland happened, and that was not a defensive war. Well, that was a mix of a defensive and an offensive war. But this has been a hot fucking mess the entire time. I don't actually know how I'm going to stop France too, because like if France, England, and Aragon actually put their navies together, I think they could bully mine. I certainly am not going to make any landings now. I guess I just have to wait the English out, right? Because if the French have conditional mill access, there's nothing I can do against them either. Shit, I need a European friend really bad. Like, just somebody to ally who, they don't have to like me, they don't even have to love me, they just need to not hate me. And while the entire European shit show is going down, we're also just going to deck on Othama. Shit. The one nice thing is by having the Spartanian vassal around, if anybody gets on the New World, you can see they're like a heat-seeking missile. And 100,000 troops is nothing to sneeze at. I'm just glad that he's actually happy. Alright, we managed to blockade Aragon out of the war. It's not what I wanted to get from them. I wanted their Mediterranean islands, but I'll accept war reps and just getting them out of this war. Because that just leaves me with Britain, and I can kind of begin to figure out how to crack that nut. I mean, not besides all the other problems that are currently going on with this war. There's just so much happening, and I really didn't need to be at war with France on top of everything else. Against Othama, we're going to take all of their land and their money. Just really keep coloring in the map bit by bit. Okay, I finally fought the English to a peace. We're not getting any of their European holdings. I couldn't secure a landing. I've just been stuck waiting for manpower to regen, mostly in the French Navy. It makes it all complicated. We are going to get all of British Brazil and really start to close off the South America to them, which is a decent consolation prize. It is just going to be very expensive to core and create colonial holdings. Okay, and France is willing to come to terms, so we're going to seize the island of Ibiza, Corsica, and two of the northmost provinces from French Peru. We have a lot more that we need to take in South America, but frankly, getting a better foothold in the Mediterranean is more important to me. And all in all, that war didn't turn out too bad. Now, we can kind of prep for the next great step. Also make sure that this gets handed over to the correct vassals. And technically, all of the British Brazil land we just seized has formed its own colonial nation of Phonique, which is certainly unique. Is that all chord for you too? Mostly chord. Okay, interesting. And from the Okeoigne, we're going to take all of their land, all of their money. Basically, we're left with just one independent tribe left, the Tribe of the Three Fires. And for the first time in God knows how long, we're actually at peace. Proper peace, not in a big old chain war. And on that note, I think that I have to call it for today. We have... I don't know how much of that you saw, but holy fuck, that was a lot of killing. A lot of war. That Cyprus war was going to kill me. The Spartania war was going to kill me. It was just so much bleh. We have basically almost fully colonized North America. We're missing a handful of provinces, right? There's the Great Basin here and a couple here, and we just have to cut down the Three Fires. But we've almost completed our promised land, or properly starting to integrate both Cycladia and some of our remaining native subjects. We are a little bit over our Diplo limit, but that's a different problem. We've also had one hell of a war with Spartania to assert our suzerainty over Elysia. That was something, and they are now, even if temporarily, loyal so that we can begin to annex them 50 years from now. Yes. We have fought, I don't know how many wars against the Western Europeans. We fought against Portugal, Aragon, France, Britain, Savoy. The only one that we haven't fought against is really the one that we need to fight against, which is the Turk. We have certainly made ourselves at home in the New World, completing basically everything besides the Promised Land, where we're just missing a lot of dev to be put into the New World. You need 50 provinces with 25 dev in the Elysian Continent, which is expensive. The Elysian Continent is essentially everything, well, southern Elysium and north. There you go. You can figure that out. And just as a reference, we have, well, Spartania would give us some, and when we finish integrating Cycladia, we'll have some extra that are close, but our only really developed core is the Elysian Center. Economically, we're starting to recover from a mass amount of debt, but it's still not great. We're 22,000 ducats in the hole and still paying it back. And absolutism-wise, we are not going to be able to get very absolutist easily. Between our governorship and our crown land, it's just not happening at the moment. So yeah. Oh, and culturally, you can see we've had one hell of an impact on the New World. Look at that beautiful Elysian cultures. When I actually click on it, it looks worse than if I leave it like this. But yes, we've certainly left our mark all the way north, all the way south. We're even working on getting into South America. So, don't worry, we're not done yet. We still have a good run, depending on how many more stupid wars like that I get. But as always, thank you for your eyes, ears, and time. If you have any input or criticisms, or just want to say, wow, look at this idiot, he doesn't know how mid to late game war in EU4 works, because let's be honest, how many of you have actually played to the 1650s? Show of hands? That's right, most of our campaigns finish by the mid-1500s at the latest. Otherwise, do the YouTube pleasantries, the like, the subscribe, the comment, it's all engagement, right? It's all engagement bait, right? We recently hit 550 subs. Thank you all very much for that. It means the world, truly. So, this has been Brown Dog 2, signing out.